We are back and I am so excited. Today we're tackling solo costume ideas, which I would argue are the most important of all. Maybe because I don't really dress up with anyone during Halloween. I just feel like it's hard to find friends that love Halloween as much as I do. And I love my friends, but dressing up in 5 different costumes really isn't their style. So if you're like me, you don't really want to bother your friends or force them to dress up because you're into it. These are some iconic standalone costumes. I'm not quite sure how many I have. I have my laptop pulled up beside the camera. It looks like I have 36 ideas, unless when I'm going through them I think they're bad, then I'll probably just not include it. But first thing, we have Miss America. I was so close to doing this one this year. I think dressing as a princess when you're a kid and dressing as Miss America when you're an adult is the same thing. All you need for this is a tiara and then a pretty dress and then a sash, but I'm assuming they sell the sashes at Dollarama and Dollar Tree. Especially, I didn't even get a prom because I graduated during COVID, so I never really got that moment. I was so close, but inevitably I did decide against it, but maybe next year. While I was researching for this video, I realized that Amanda Seyfried was in a Red Riding Hood movie. I hadn't even heard of this movie. Then I realized that Dylan is in Trouble posted a movie review about it, and needless to say, it doesn't look like a good movie. So you could dress as Amanda Seyfried, Red Riding Hood, or you could just dress as a sexy, a cute, a scary version of her. One that's probably not as common is a firefighter. I would say Haley Dunphy's firefighter, but that's just because I think Haley Dunphy is iconic, and I think she has some really iconic Halloween costumes. But you know what? Is it basic? Probably. But if you're going to the club, if you're worried about sticking out too much, a firefighter is good. I've heard rumors, and I'm not sure if they're completely true, but that they're making a Polly Pocket movie. And if they are, dressing as a Polly Pocket, I think is pretty iconic. If you are one of the girls that are oh, I want to dress as Barbie, but everyone's doing it, so I don't want to do it. Polly Pocket works. That being said, in my opinion, I think you should dress as Barbie. I think it's iconic, and really, when you look back at it, you know how big the Barbie movie has been? Didn't Century 21 say it was their highest grossing movie of all time? You lived through that, and you had the opportunity to dress like Barbie that year for Halloween. I feel like it's something that people will talk about for years and years and years. And you know what? I want to be part of that. Another super basic one, but not as basic as an angel, is a butterfly. If you still want to wear the wings, I feel like they're cute. You know, they're for dramatic effect. It's I'm here, I'm taking up my space. A butterfly could be cute. It's also a good last minute Halloween costume because really, you could just get some fairy wings and then tell everyone you're a butterfly, and it wouldn't really make much of a difference. I think the most iconic butterfly costume we've seen is when Kylie Jenner and Stormi dress as butterflies, because that was so cute. A costume that I would probably never do is a Hershey's Kiss, but I understand why other people would want to do it. I'm not a huge fan of sparkly clothes, so I would probably pass on it, but I do think it's cute. I think it's, again, one of those basic ones, but it works as long as you got the little white and blue kisses strand as a headband or something. And then something that I think is really on theme this year is the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, dressing as Evelyn from the book cover. The red dress is pretty iconic. I think if you're lucky enough to find an emerald green dramatic dress, you might as well dress like her. It's pretty simple, but it is kind of creative. I feel like people haven't been dressing as her. So something that I think we've seen everybody dress as are the Simpsons. I think just pick a character, your favorite character, and dress like them. You could make this cute by dressing as one of the girls, or if you wanted to make it funny, you could dress as Homer and maybe have a beer belly and make yourself bald, because Pitbull is really popular. Women love to dress as Pitbull because the bald is funny. It's kind of funny. It's a little overdone, but it's funny. So if you wanted to be Homer Simpson, same effect, you know, just paint it yellow. I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I think I'm a Bob's Burgers girly over a Simpsons girly. So I actually did dress as Tina from Bob's Burgers last year. Last year's Halloween for me was kind of pathetic. I only had 3 costumes, and they were only taken like in my room. I took the pictures. Like usually I do a little bit more, and I will this year. Do not worry, I'm going all out this year. But it was kind of a sad year for me in terms of Halloween, because like looking back, you know, I aced the costume, of course, but I could have done better with the photography, and that sucks. But oh well, I can't dress like another Bob's Burgers character, I feel like, because I think one is enough for a lifetime. But thankfully, Bob's Burgers characters have pretty simple wardrobes, I guess. I think the most iconic wardrobe would be Louise with her like bunny hat. That would be cute. A costume that I think is so fun and I do want to do at some point, but I am kind of scared. Like, I don't really want to go outside and like bare all essentially and be like that scandalous, because it worries me a bit. This was one of the costumes that like I come up with a bunch of costume ideas and then narrow it down to my favorites, and this was close to being one of my costumes this year, but I don't know. It's just, there's so much stigma around wearing like a sexy costume like this, and I just didn't feel safe choosing it. Maybe one year I will, and that would be great for me. But if you feel comfortable enough, I think it's a super iconic costume. Dressing as Coraline for Halloween, I think it's a given. Like, it's a Halloween movie and it's Halloween. You might as well dress like her. Her wardrobe isn't too hard to recreate. And if you're like into makeup, you could do button eyes, even though I don't know if she's had button eyes throughout the movie. I think the point is that she's the only one without button eyes, but still, I haven't watched it. I'm so sorry. Another show that I've never watched is Madeline, but I heard someone on TikTok talk about it, and the main character, the girl, her outfit's kind of cute, so I haven't seen anybody dress like her. I haven't really ever even heard of the show, so maybe dress like her. Another costume that I really think has the potential to be either funny or sexy is Vector from Despicable Me. Like, as long as you've got an orange tracksuit, or if you wanted to make it sexy, just do like a little mini skirt and a little top, and then that's cute. You could even get like a gun from the toy section, like a water gun, and that would be iconic. Catwoman. I think I've only watched Halle Berry's Catwoman. I know Anne Hathaway played her, and also Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer. Why does that sound wrong? Michelle Pfeiffer? There's that one song that's like, closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen. Okay, Michelle Pfeiffer, that is how you say it. I think those two have played Catwoman. Halle Berry, I think, did a great job in Catwoman. I remember watching that and being like, oh my God. So I feel like me saying that she's not the best Catwoman, even though I haven't watched the other ones, like, it would just be a disservice to her. So I'm gonna say it. Halle Berry is the best Catwoman. That being said, most of that is literally unrelated to what we're talking about, but you could dress as Catwoman this Halloween. And I'm not talking a cat, okay? You could do that, That would be like, you know, last minute basic costume ideas, which is fine. But if we're talking iconic costume ideas, we need the latex. We need to be strapped into some sexy black costume. Since there have been so many different Catwomans and like the comics and the cartoons and everything, you could just pick any of them. They're all different like modesty levels. I mean, none of them are particularly modest, but you'll probably find one to your comfort level. This is kind of similar to the Miss America, but Miss Congeniality, okay? She's a queen. I love Sandra Bullock, and I loved her in this. I loved her in the second one, Armed and Dangerous. And if you just want to wear a pretty dress, a tiara, and a sash, this is cutesy too. I feel like there aren't nearly as many brunette icons from Y2K movies as there are blonde ones, but the brunette's got to win here, guys. So thank you, Sandra Bullock. Cher from Clueless, which, I can't believe, I'm so embarrassed to admit this out loud, but I've never watched Clueless. I mean, how could I? Someone who claims to love fashion never have watched Clueless. Now that I've literally talked so long about stuff that doesn't even matter to the point of anything, where were we? Okay, we literally started this off talking about Cher from Clueless. Okay, getting back on track. She has a bunch of iconic outfits, basically that's what I was trying to say with all that. Next up, another costume that I've done. I feel like maybe it's a little bit full of myself to include costumes I've done as the iconic costumes, but self-love is the most important love, of course. So you could dress as Mia Thermopolis. And again, not to start talking about movies again, I've never watched any of the Princess Diary movies. This is getting embarrassing. Like, I feel like every costume is gonna be like, yeah, super iconic, never watched it though. Like, so why would I actually know if it's iconic? Because I haven't actually seen anything. But, oh well, I'm sorry. Recreating the movie poster is pretty simple. You just have to like stick on a graphic, take your picture on a plain wall, white dress, headphones, tiara, and sunglasses. Pretty simple. Next, we have Mabel from Only Murders in the Building, and I actually am a fan of this. I've watched all 3 seasons. The last episode of season 3 came out yesterday, and I watched it. Unsure how I feel about season 3 as a whole. I like to let the shows marinate before I give my opinion, but the fashion is pretty good. I wouldn't say people watch Only Murders in the Building to be inspired to make outfits, but season 1, I would say Mabel had the most distinct style, I think. As long as you wear a sweater and a plaid bottom, plaid skirt, and red headphones, I think that's pretty much her look. So if you do live somewhere with a warm climate, you could easily make this fit whatever you're looking for. And I know you've probably already seen this costume idea 100 times this Halloween, but Regina George, okay? You could dress as the pink version. I feel like a lot of people do that. The version that people don't do as much is one with the shirt with the like boobs cut out. That's pretty iconic and it's sexy. So I would personally recommend that one. Or her Halloween costume where she dressed as, I think she was a rabbit. Then we've got Carrie, because no Halloween costume idea video would be complete without Carrie. I also have not seen this movie. I think I want to. It seems like it has like a cute aesthetic, but again, pretty simple. It's kind of the same idea as Miss Congeniality and Miss America. You're just a pretty dress and a sash and flowers and a tiara. Then we've got Hannah Montana. I just recently got Disney Plus because they were running that deal where you could get it for 3 months for $1.99. So I'm currently in that, but now they've just announced that they're raising prices, which is a little suspicious, but that's fine. We'll see if I keep my Disney Plus after this trial. I haven't got a chance to watch Hannah Montana yet. I kind of just want to watch one episode and see if it's as good as I remember. But then I'm thinking, if I do watch it, it's probably not going to be nearly as good as I remember. I did watch Hannah Montana as a child, though. I did have a childhood. Do not worry. I think sparkly little top, some pants, and some type of little vest. I think she was always wearing that. A blonde wig, a microphone, and your Hannah Montana. I just posted a TikTok about this Halloween costume idea 2 days ago, and it's already at 8,000 views, so I guess it was a popular idea. So it's Haley Duffy's mugshot. I think if you've got like a teal and black bra peeking out from underneath a black dress, and I think if you carried that like little sign that they hold up sometimes with their information, maybe not everyone would get your costume, but I think it's pretty iconic. This costume might be a little bit old, but the nurse from Ratched, it's one of the two. I think it would be incredibly hard to find a latex dress like this, but I do think if you did find one, people would immediately know what you are, even if they hadn't watched the show, because there is so much promo for it. Filming standing up is like giving me a lot of energy. I'm just moving around freely. Ooh. I wonder why more YouTubers don't do this. Next costume, another 2000s, is a cheerleader from Bring It On. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to say it at this point. I have not watched this movie, but the outfits are pretty iconic, and I think people would recognize them. Then we've got Sue Sylvester. I feel like people maybe have overdone this costume at this point, but if you're looking for comfort, if you're looking for warmth, red tracksuit is pretty simple. And if you have a microphone, then it goes from simple to being iconic. That's all I'm saying. As someone who loves the Saw movies, Saw 10 just came out, but I'm on, I think, the 5th one. My friend and I started to watch them, and I'm like, probably shouldn't watch them without him, so I still have a bunch to catch up on, but I did hear that you can watch Saw 10 without seeing the rest of them, so I might do that. Billy the Puppet is pretty iconic. You know, if you had a tricycle, then it would be iconic. I think if you just did the makeup and the outfit, then it's like, yeah, you know, it's a good costume. It's a solid costume. And then we have Casey Becker, who, if you've been following along this Halloween journey with me, I dressed up as her on October 1st to recreate the Scream intro. And when I filmed that, I hadn't watched the Scream movie. I only watched the one with Jenna Ortega because live, laugh, love Jenna Ortega. But I have now. I watched it a couple days ago, and oh my gosh. Usually I watch the movies with like bad misogynistic killer guys, and I'm like, oh, this is just nasty. Like, we're glorifying this. Something about Billy Loomis, I think was his name. Oh my God. Why was he so hot? Even after he killed everybody. I'm like, I guess, spoiler alert, but the movie came out in 1996. Like, if you haven't seen it now, it's probably, you know, it's to be expected. Anyway, even after he was saying those horrible things to Sydney, I was like, oh my gosh. Did I like him as a person? No, but he was hot, and that's that. I am going to be honest, the only reason that I watched it was because I saw a bunch of edits of Billy on TikTok, and I was like, okay, yeah, usually edits they'll make something out of nothing. Like, I'm up to season 15 of Criminal Minds, and the Spencer Reid edits I see, I really was like, oh my God, like, it's gonna be like super sexy. No, people really are just grasping at straws with these things. So I assumed that would be what would happen with Billy, but no, the edits didn't even do him justice. I would recommend watching it. He's hot. But anyway, okay, maybe I shouldn't stand when I film because I feel like I've gone on so many tangents. You could dress as Casey Becker. I mean, I did it with clothes out of my closet, so it's probably not that hard. Obviously, if you really wanted to commit, you could do a blonde bob with bangs and carry around a phone all night. That's an iconic costume. Another movie I haven't seen is Aquamarine. That shirt that she makes a dress, I've heard that on TikTok, so you could dress like that. Maybe I just don't get all the lore around the movie because I haven't seen it, but if you like the movie, I think you should dress like a character from there. Then we've got Ella Enchanted. Again, I have not watched this movie, but I think her dress is super pretty. I think this Anne Hathaway costume is a lot less popular than the Mia from Princess Diaries. So if you kind of wanted the Princess Diaries costume, but you wanted it to be less mainstream, Ella Enchanted is a good option. And then Herbie, I watched this when I was a child, so yay, one movie I've watched. You could dress as 53, the actual car, or you could dress as Lindsay Lohan in the one movie. I think maybe dressing as the car would be a little bit simpler than finding a full-on car racing suit. But yeah, if you really wanted to level it up, I think wearing roller skates would be iconic, given, you know, you're dressing as a car. I don't know, it's kind of cute. Another movie I haven't seen, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Mary Elizabeth, I did have to, in fact, look up her name. I had heard of this costume because I think Sabrina Carpenter dresses her last year, just like the I Heart New York t-shirt. I think it's simple enough, and again, a lot of people have done it, but I also feel like when people ask for unique Halloween costumes, they're not actually asking for like one-of-a-kind Halloween costumes, because not that many people want to be the only one that has ever thought of a costume, because people like to feel like part of a community. And if you go out and you find someone who has the same costume as you, that's probably more of a bonding event than you just being like an isolated person who is dressed as something obscure that no one has even ever heard of. And then, don't take a shot every time I say I didn't watch this movie, but also didn't watch Closer. I think the main character's name is Alice. Someone dressed like her at Heidi Klum's Halloween party one year. I forget which celeb did, but it's a pretty sexy costume, and I don't think that many people, like in real life, actually dress like her. I think it may be popular around celebs, but I think that's kind of where it ends. And then I can't even believe I'm recommending this, but You could dress as a fembot from the Austin Powers movie. If you heard my rant in which celeb is the queen of Halloween, you'll know, like, I never watch these movies because they look gross and misogynistic, but I'm not gonna say that the fembots don't have style. The outfits are iconic, and I do think they'd make good Halloween costumes. Ooh, we only have 3 more. I also forgot to explain my costume today, so we're gonna do that before we get to the last 3. I'm dressed as Maleficent, if you couldn't tell from the horns, because this video is about like iconic solo costumes, and who's a more iconic solo villain than Maleficent? I mean, she didn't talk to anybody for years, and she doesn't trust men. She dresses in all black, but she has a soft spot for Elle Fanning. Pretty iconic. I actually did dress as Maleficent for real in 2021, I think, Halloween of 2021. I threw a Halloween party, and basically dress code was dressed as a Disney villain. I, of course, got the best one of all, Maleficent, so I'm just like reusing this. And then I got this dress from Garage, and I feel like it just hugs all the right places. It's such a pretty dress. Okay, back to the last 3 costumes. We have Olivia Rodrigo, but the Bad Idea Right music video, where she's wearing that sparkly silver dress, that little white tank top, the fuzzy blue cardigan, and then, most important part, the slushy stain. I think if you have the slushy stain on there, that is so iconic. Like, I'm still sitting here thinking, like, should I swap one of my costumes out for this? Because really, I think that is, I don't know what it is about it that I'm like, that's so iconic, but please, someone that's watching this, please dress like that. And then we've got another icon, Paris Hilton, in the Don't or Stop Being Poor, I think is the shirt. I think it actually said Stop Being Desperate or something, and people edited it, but the Stop Being Poor version is more popular than the real version, and I think it's kind of funny. You could easily DIY this. Really, the shirt is what matters the most, so if you have the word Stop Being Poor on it and you're wearing a skirt, I think you're good to go. If you don't want to potentially offend anybody, Paris Hilton has a bunch of outfits that are iconic. She's been in a bunch of things, so there is a lot to choose from. And now, we have officially made it to the last costume idea. I feel like for me, the last one is always the most stressful because I'm like, how do I want to finish off this video? Today, we're not finishing off with a bang. In fact, probably the most pathetic costume on here, the Selena Gomez blanket meme. This is one of those costumes that's barely even a costume, but it's on trend and it's iconic, and you get to carry around a blanket all day. I love Selena Gomez, so I am well aware that she has a bunch of more iconic outfits that you could dress as, but I think the blanket meme is kind of fun, and you're not taking yourself too seriously. Anyway, that brings us to the end of my iconic solo costume idea video. I hope you found something in here that you like or got inspired and came up with your own idea through this video. If you do want any extra ideas, I am going to be posting on TikTok all the way up until October 31st with any new ideas that I come up with. And also, I do plan to have a video closer to Halloween come out with last minute costume ideas. So if you're the type of person that just like really does wait until the last minute, maybe you'll want to subscribe and make sure that you catch that one. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next time.